Coming to you live from the world headquarters of Concenture Wealth Management right here in Houston, Texas. Hope this video finds you well. You're able to enjoy a little bit of this cooler weather. October is absolutely my favorite month. You got baseball playoffs, you got Friday night lights, you got Saturday football, college football, you have Sunday and the temperatures start to come down. Life really is good. Hey, look, let's hit pause and talk about what's happened so far this year. Well, we started the first quarter feeling pretty good, but not really certain. In the first quarter, we find out that the economy actually shrank in the first quarter, and you had the market actually end negative for quarter one. Then we move forward to quarter two. We start to get a little bit of recovery and rebound, and the markets in June end up pulling way back. And we get the news that the second quarter, the market has a negative return for the second quarter in a row. And we entered what the technical definition of a recession is back-to-back quarters of negative GDP growth, which is what was reported. Then we started July, looked pretty good. Everything started to happen, and boom, we come into the third quarter and we end the third quarter. And at the end of the third quarter, we have our third consecutive negative quarter in the markets. And it remains to be seen what will happen with regard to GDP. We haven't received those numbers yet. However, we are starting to see signs that the economy is starting to show cracks. Now, one of the things that happened and started happening in the second quarter is that the Federal Reserve started raising interest rates. They raised them significantly. And then we moved through, and in August, Chairman Powell said, we need to be prepared for pain. I think that may be quote unquote code words for possible recession. Here's where I think that we are. I think we technically are in a recession. I think the Federal Reserve is going to raise interest rates at a slower rate as we move forward. And here's why. 1978, we had an uninflation at about 8 or 9%. And that started to grow. And in 1981, inflation was at 14%. As we had that inflation, Paul Volcker utilized interest rates and took interest rates all the way up to, in 1982, 22%. When he did that, that caused the unemployment to jump up to 11%, and that basically set the pace for an extended bull market after they knocked inflation out. This Federal Reserve is scared to death about inflation eating away buying power and destroying the economy. They're going to do whatever they can. The question remains to be answered of whether or not they're going to do too much and have to reverse course. So what's going to happen here in October? What I think is going to happen is we're going to start to focus on companies. What are companies saying about their outlook? What are companies saying about what their hiring practices? What are they saying about their inventory levels? I think that we're going to continue to have these periods of episodic volatility, meaning that you're going to have these massive moves up and massive moves down. And at times it's going to feel like it's always going to rain. Or, when it's cloudy in one part of town, you think it's raining everywhere. It feels like it's going to be painful, and this time is no different than it's 2008, 2009 all over again. I don't think that's the case. The Federal Reserve is going to pull this back. We're going to end up with the interest rates somewhere around here. The housing market's clearly already slowing down. There's some signs, but they do have the ability to flip the switch to turn the economy to heat it back up. I think they're going to go slow as we move forward. My best guess is second, third quarter, we'll start to see that bottoming process. So what do? Well, number one is that you don't get out of everything, right? You want to be short-term bonds. Check. We got that. We don't want to be long-term. You want to be high-quality stocks. Check. We got that. You want stocks that pay dividends. Check. We got that. And you want to manage the amount of cash that you have, because cash is also losing. Because what's happened this year, if you own commodities, if you own bonds, if you own stocks, and if you had cash, you lost in all cases. So we have to make sure that we're managing what our downside is and not losing as much. Technically, right now, all the markets are in, whether it's the NASDAQ, S&P 500, or Dow Jones, are all in bear market territory. I think that we're going to start to see us start to edge out of that. We have to be prepared for these periods of episodic volatility. Back in March, we went through and we created a significant amount of cash. We've maintained that cash all the way through here. We don't quite have all clear signals just yet. We're waiting for that. We could see another 3, 4, 5% downside on the S&P 500 before we see this start to edge back up. We're monitoring it. The bottom line is making sure that you have enough money to meet your living expenses if you're already retired. If you're thinking about retiring, make sure you're allocating your budget correctly so that you have enough money off on the side and all your money is at least working for you in some form or fashion. That's going to mute the effects of inflation. And so as we go through and we look, we're going to continue to manage and monitor that. As things change, we're going to reach out and be back in touch with you. But please, always, if you have a question or a concern or something that you're worried about, do not hesitate to reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We do these videos to reach everyone as quickly as we possibly can. But please don't hesitate to get back with us. One last thing. We put a lot of information up on our website, concenturewealth.com, under the News and Insights tab. If you'll go look inside of there, you'll see a lot of these different pieces, including some different charts that we've put up there, some different blogs that we write, some different things that where we've been in the news. If you'll go check that out, I think you'll find there's a lot of information that will help you understand kind of what's going on. But we're here, we're watching it. Please reach out. Hope everyone has a fantastic Halloween and go Astros. We'll talk to you soon.